Hello everyone, this is Santiago Vásquez.
And I'm Martin Cervantes,
And welcome to the DOTTE POD.
where communication truly matters. Yes.
You remember this time?
Oh yeah, I'm getting better. Each time I'm getting better and better. So it takes practice, right? So I hope everybody's having a good day, enjoying the weather. No more rain for a while. The weather has been perfect, as someone from the West Coast will say, this is perfect. No complaints.
I like it. I just want to be near the beach.
Oh yeah, listening to the waves breaking. Oh,
You sound so zen-like.
wow.
Today is a very special day.
It is.
Like not just because of the beautiful weather, but because of our special guest.
Yes, it is a special day, especially for me. I've known Mary Beth Gentry for a good 14 years.
Wow.
We worked together as we put together and came together as a community, working with a better KCK. Unfortunately, things happened. It didn't develop into what we wanted, but Mary Beth continued to do her work in the community. And we were talking earlier, she is not from Wyandotte County, but her passion, her drive, her love for Wyandotte County, it doesn't surprise me, but it's really something. So, Mary Beth Gentry, here with us today, Young Women on the Move, Executive Director of Young Women on the Move. So, welcome, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
Can we call you Mary? Is that okay with you?
You may.
There we go.
I've been called a lot of things.
So Mary, we would like to start by asking our guests to tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, if it's possible, where you were born, and your educational background.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I
No
feel like
birth
my
dates.
head is going like this to look at you both.
Well, just look
Just look at the camera.
Yeah, tell us.
So everybody, once I open my mouth, they say, "Where are you from?" So I am from a little town in West Tennessee named Paris. We even have an Eiffel Tower.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
But we also have a sign that says home of the world's largest fish fry.
Oh.
So I'm a Southern girl. I haven't lived in the South for a long time, but I can't get it out of me.
we love you either way.
Okay, there's a lot of good things from the South.
Absolutely.
I went to the University of Tennessee, so I'm a Big Orange volunteer. And then I did graduate work at the University of Minnesota. And after we moved to Kansas, I did graduate work at the University of Kansas in community health and development. But I've done a lot of things along the way. I think when I finished my work at University of Minnesota to be a dietitian, that was the year Martin Luther King was killed, and it was my awakening as to the injustices and things in this world that I had not been aware of, and there's many reasons for that. But I ended up that year moving to Oakland, California to work in the ghetto for a short-term mission project with my church, and I stayed there. And when it was time for me to leave, my mom and my sister intervened because they knew there were several things happening that I needed to come home. But I didn't want to accept defeat and say I was coming home. So they wrote a letter to all the southern hospitals signing my name that I was looking for a job.
Oh,
Wow.
And I got a lot of offers while I was living there in Oakland, but a letter came one day from St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. And it said that they were looking for a nutritionist to be responsible for all of the children admitted to the hospital due to cancer. But they also had a special program that they had started to deal with starving children, children failure to thrive, 0 to 6 months of age, in the projects around the hospital.
Mm.
And they had received a grant to identify these babies, bring them in with their moms, and get them started on Similac with iron. And I ran that study with the doctor, and we found the babies. Some of the babies had to be admitted. They were so sick, they were so starving.
Wow.
And I learned that nutrition, poor nutrition, is just as catastrophic as cancer. And that these babies' brains, and they could show it on x-rays, these babies' brains grew so quickly when they got food. What happens when they don't get food? And so that was a real transforming part of my life. But the other transforming part was that I was able firsthand to see an organization, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, that practiced equity and inclusion and social justice every part of their being. It didn't matter how rich a family was or how poor a family was, their child was treated the same. And no family paid. It was an incredible experience, and then I got married and started making many moves around the country, which I'm really grateful for, but that really set the stage for the rest of my life.
Wow. What brought you to Kansas?
My husband, kicking and screaming.
Oh, you didn't want to move
I
here?
did not want to move here.
So, but I'm sorry, I want to go back to, you were in Oklahoma, in Oakland, California, deep in the inner city. And you take this job with St. Jude's, and this is in Tennessee, correct?
Yes,
Correct. Okay. So love brings you to Kansas.
yes.
Wow.
Well, I don't know how much of a love that will be, because she's kicking and screaming that doesn't want to move here.
Sure.
I love the West.
Oh.
I loved living in Nevada in the high desert. I don't like a lot of humidity. I like the big skies. I like being able to see the sun set over the Virginia range in the evenings, and I love to see the Sierra Nevada range in the mornings. And
Well,
it was just so
quite
beautiful.
romantic.
You must really love Kansas, though, because you don't see any of that in here, right?
Actually, the first time I came here with a taxi driver from the airport, and it was dark, and I couldn't tell him east or west because I didn't have any mountains as my reference point, and he was quite frustrated. But I do love Kansas. I feel like, wherever you are, make it your home.
Yes.
And you can find the negative or you can find the positive, but Kansas has been really, really good to us. And I'm so grateful because our daughter, it's been a really wonderful move for her. And she went to the University of Kansas and is well established here. And my husband just retired from KU a year
Congratulations.
ago from School of Journalism. So we're very happy here.
But before we move along, I do want to say we have beautiful sunsets here in Kansas. I witnessed those, I've seen them, and they are beautiful. So I can't take that away from Kansas.
No. And it's not all flat, but even the flat part is beautiful.
Yes, oh yeah, beautiful people also.
So your husband was a professor?
Yes.
Okay. And what a great place for journalism and filmmaking. KU is amazing. Whew. But anyhow, so there are some similarities between Oakland and Wyandotte. They're very similar in many ways.
It's very interesting that you said that, because when I was in Oakland, I was working at a little community center on Telegraph Avenue, not far from Berkeley, but it was at the Black Panthers were in their heyday, and Haight-Ashbury was across the bridge. But I had this dietetic degree, and I wanted to make a difference. And somebody asked me one day if I'd like to help serve breakfast for this breakfast program for kids, and so I said, sure. And I have to say I'm pretty naive about a lot of things. So I go, and I don't know who these big black people are who are wearing their fatigues and carrying a Mao Zedong's red book in their pocket and big black military
red book.
boots, red book.
That little red book of Mao
And
Zedong.
they were the Black Panthers. And so I worked alongside them, serving breakfast to
But you
these
had no
kids.
idea
I
who they
didn't.
were.
I didn't know. You know, it's like, okay, they didn't speak to me, and I didn't really speak to them. But I served them after the kids went to school. And a few weeks ago, this is actually, I think, the 50th anniversary of the very first breakfast program for kids in America.
Wow.
Now, that doesn't make sense to me. There's had to be one somewhere, but this has been written up in some magazines just this year that church where they met and walked those kids across the street was the very first one. And I was there. I just think that is so special.
You're part of history.
Yeah, they did pull their gun on me one time because I was trying to not waste the food and I had a big pot of grits. So I go out to the table where they are all sitting and I said, "Do you all want some more grits?" And they jumped up and pulled their guns on me. And
Wow.
I didn't,
Shaken.
and so we stared at each other and then we started laughing. And I think that is a big lesson in life, that we all have more in common actually than we were really different. So we had a bond,
Wow.
but we had to develop that trust. And so I think
Because no matter how much we criticize any organization, the Black Panthers actually,
they've done good
they
things
did a lot of good things for their community. We're not going to get into in-depth conversations regarding them because they're not here to talk about themselves. But they did a lot of stuff as far as attempting to feed and educate the African American community. But so then you come to Kansas, correct? Because of your husband. You left your job with St. Jude's, right? Now what?
Well,
What happens?
I left my job with St. Jude's a long time ago.
Oh, prior to that. To
Yes.
okay.
I've had my own restaurant. I've had a
Oh, wow.
successful catering business. I've had a retail store.
Oh, wow.
I became director of development at the University of Nevada
Oh, wow.
for the School of Mines
Wow.
and Engineering. So I was very
Wow.
active in cultivating the mining executives to give money for scholarships and so forth for students in mining engineering and geology and so forth. I loved that so much. That's why I didn't want to come back. And so, when we moved to Kansas, I met the dean of the KU School of Medicine, Deborah Powell, and her heart was for women's health. And she really wanted to build a women's health, multidisciplinary, holistic approach to women's health that would not only look at a woman because of her reproductive system, but the whole person, and where disciplines, not just medicine, work together for the whole woman. And she taught me, and so did all of the other faculty working on this initiative, that if you can keep a woman healthy, her family can be healthy, her community, the nation, the world. And so if you really build on that and see how important it is to keep a woman, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, economically, and in all respects of her life. And there's so many stories I could tell about how that did not happen or things that were done to try to help the ladies, the women. And so one of the first things that she asked me to help with was to help build more experiences for medical students and residents in the community so that they could have a better sense when a patient comes to the clinic, they can better understand the issues they're dealing with. It's hard for a doctor to prescribe something and not understand the patient has not the means to fulfill or to comply.
Mm-hmm.
So I started reaching out to the schools, and I was greeted warmly by John Rios at
Mhm.
Argentine Middle School at the time, Walt Thompson at Wyandotte High School, and I was getting a taste for what the problems were, and they took me along and showed me and shared with me the plight of these students, hunger, abuse, so many of the issues these kids were dealing with. And I'm thinking, I'm back in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
And so I eventually realized it was time for me to believe in myself enough that I could do something. And so I wasn't quite sure what that was, but when I chose to leave the medical center, I realized I wanted to live my purpose. Jane Fonda says, life is not a dress rehearsal. And so I really feel like from the beginning, I've been here for a purpose, and that I want to make sure I'm not wasting my time. I want to find that purpose. And when I'm used up at the end, I'll know that I've done all I can do. Maybe I've not done it perfectly, but I want to be used up. So I started trying to reach women that needed women's health and so forth, but they're kind of hard to reach. But those schools are filled with young women who have moms, and so I just felt like, if I could work with the schools, because they've already been so open and needing partners, and it was middle school and high school, and that is not an easy age. And it was pretty scary. And so, but I had to realize, these kids have a facade, like they don't trust you immediately. They're gonna test you until, but once they know, they're so warm, and they're just so wanting those relationships. So we started Young Women on the Move. I really had, I've gotten ahead of myself.
Can you tell us when that happened? When did you start Young Women on the Move? And what made you think, this is what I need to do, and this is what I'm going to name my program?
Oh, wow, you're really getting into it, aren't you? So, after I left the KU School of Medicine, I was really searching for how is this gonna work? What can I do? I'm not an MD. I've got to find something. So I talked to quite a few people in the community of different service organizations and so forth. And I met Dr. Stephen Fawcett, who was the director of the time. At the time, he's just retired, of the KU Center for KU Center for Community Health and Development. And I shared with him some of my ideas, and he said, well, why don't you put those ideas on the back burner, and why don't you come take this master's certificate program with us? We're just starting it. So I did. So I commute to Lawrence, and I took this wonderful program, which helped me to look at issues in our community from the root cause, and think about, okay, how do you build a coalition? How do you market? How do you come up with the logic model, or the framework for what you're gonna do, and how are you gonna measure to make sure you're meeting those outcomes? And so I started working on this, and I just had this idea, if I could do a girls program, because I know I can reach them. And he let me spend that whole year putting my plan together, and spending that time developing the friends and the people in the community that would help me and open doors. So that was in 2004 and part of 2005. And then in 2005, I applied for my business nonprofit, and in 2006, I got it.
Wow, yes. And you have been doing a great job helping our young women in the community. And I witnessed that. I've seen that. We met a few times. I helped you out, and I can see the work that you do here. It's just amazing.
You mentioned that you don't have an MD. However, you probably have more understanding than any medical doctor when it comes to nutrition. The average medical doctor doesn't really study much the roots of nutrition and how to properly provide a diet for their patients. So
Maybe I need to talk to you about my nutrition here because I need help.
And I want to mention something because I can relate to what you said. When I was my last year in high school in Venezuela, when I was born and raised, I had a phenomenal history teacher. This guy, he was the most fascinating teacher that I ever had. And he said that a mind that is hungry cannot think. Therefore, it stops being created. Therefore, it becomes corral, like a wounded animal. And that can lead to so much harm. And you reminded me of that when you said that. And when I was in sixth grade, and first grade and sixth grade, I was diagnosed with malnutrition. And we haven't spoken about this before, Mr. C. And I went to high school here for a year in the United States. And I was blown away by the fact that I could eat breakfast and lunch in high school here in the United States. I was like, excuse me. I asked my mom, how do we pay for this? Well, taxes will pay for this. Taxes. I was like, doesn't make any sense. I was like, but that's okay. But for us, in order for us to have been able to have lunch, it was lunch what we got in high school. It will be at the end of because we went to school from 7 in elementary school, from 7 a.m. in the morning until noon. So the last bell will ring and you will have to go into this program to eat. I was there twice, and everybody knew that if you were part of that program, they knew that you were malnourished and you were very poor. It was tough. It was tough. But then you come here to the United States, and it blows my mind away with this country that has so much. We still have people that are not getting 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
We have plenty of food in our country, it's just not as distributed equally.
So tell us a little bit about some of the programs that you do here. What is it that you do? You're reaching to all these young ladies that we have in our community. But what is it that you do with them? What is it that you're trying to teach them so that they can become empowered and individual thinkers, so that they can go there in the world and change it for the best?
So we've chosen through the years to work primarily with girls, say around 11, who are entering 6th grade, and really do our best to try to stay with them and see them graduate, and then stay connected with them. Many of them, want to continue to be mentored or come back and help, or may need additional support. So I'd say basically adolescence really with the brain doesn't really stop developing till around 25. But most of our work has been 6th grade through the 12th grade. This is such a vulnerable time. Again, the little babies up to about 3 years old, their bodies and their brains are developing so rapidly. Everything you do during that time is so vitally important. But the second and the last major burst of growth is those adolescent years, and that's really important. Plus they're gaining their freedom and they're developing more of their personality and their
Attitudes.
beliefs and their attitudes. So it's really, really an important time. So I really try hard to look at what works and what doesn't. And I think one of the, if not the most important thing that works for youth is that they have a caring adult in their life. And that doesn't take rocket science, but there are so many young people in our country who don't have, a caring adult, or they don't have enough caring adults. So before we do any fancy programs, we've really got to try to do that. And to be able to let them know that we can be trusted and that we show up, that we're not just here today and gone tomorrow, that they can depend on us. And so we do that. But as our girls come into our program and we recruit them in the schools, or the girls recruit their friends, and we also work with other youth agencies, and I'll tell you more about that, but we really try to make sure that their needs are being met. Are there certain critical things that they need that we can help them and their families, and that's where sometimes you'll come in and help. But we also want to make sure that our young ladies can claim their voice, that we believe in their voice. And so just like the girls that you saw downstairs, we're asking them to come up with their ideas and how they can be leaders and so forth. But to make sure we're not doing our program to them or for them, but with them. And that comes in stages, it's progressive. But I say there's two primary areas of focus. The first one is to build resilience. And we can't change life's circumstances, but we can help them become better at dealing with those circumstances, to be resilient. So we do that by, again, those trusting adult relationships, by really trying to build relationships and strengthen the families, and give them the types of social, emotional learning and so forth that will help them be critical thinkers, deal with their trauma that they've had or whatever. And then the second part is to help them build human capital, which basically means what assets can they bring to society that society needs. So help them stay on track academically so that they are reaching those milestones in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and beyond, where they need to be. And we're not so much of a tutoring program, although I wish I had volunteers to help with that, but to help them with study skills and with that motivation and learning to get rid of a lot of the clutter and the drama that takes up all their attention instead of studying, and to be more focused on their goals and how to get there. But another part is bringing people to them who can inspire them, to give them hope, and to see that there's so many possibilities if they do the right things. They start developing, then they, why couldn't I be a business owner or whatever? And so we really want to inspire them by bringing either job shadowing or getting them internships, or just people that can come alongside and show them possibilities. And then the other one is just to give them kind of those soft skills in terms of being able to communicate, to better negotiate what you need and want, but also conflict resolution, how to show up on time so that they can build a resume. And what I would love is that these young ladies are developing themselves so that employers want to hire them, colleges want to give them scholarships. And I keep telling them all the time, you have no idea how many people are out in this world who want to help if you will show the motivation and the self-discipline that you can get into the colleges. Can you stay? It's up to you.
So you're helping these young ladies to build up their self-esteem, self-confidence, self-control, and to learn that they can do things that they never really thought about doing, right? You're helping them build themselves up so they can go into the world and make a difference.
Yes.
Not just to stay down, but you can be someone that will make a difference,
Yes.
that's what we need.
Yes.
We need that.
Now, do you provide transportation for these young ladies to come here, or somebody brings them here? How does it work?
Transportation for all of us youth organizations is a huge challenge.
Yes.
So, yes and no to your question, because H&R Block gave us a van several years ago, and so we have a volunteer who will pick up at some schools, but he can't be at all schools at once. And so the school district, when the buses are coming our direction, will drop off. And then some of the parents will do. There's a lot of parents who can't during that time frame. So we really try to work on that the best we can. And during COVID, everything kind of came to a halt with having the girls come to our building. But as we try to move forward with this new school year, we already have several schools who are asking us to come into their schools to do programs in the school day as well as after school programs at the schools. And then we want to be opening up our building for those girls and others to be able to use our building.
And I know you just also started going into the juvenile detention center. I know we don't have many girls in there, thank God. You know, ladies need to stay away from that place, everybody. But I know you're going there now, right? How is that going?
Well, it's going really well. Those young people are really responsive, and as some of the staff there explained, you know, they're at a point now where they are open to finding ways to not repeat some of the mistakes they've had. But the reason we came is this past year, in this past September, we were extremely fortunate to receive a federal grant to teach a program called Healthy Teen Initiative, and it basically is a sexual risk avoidance education. And we have chosen a curriculum that is the top-rated curriculum for teaching adolescents how to make the right choices, how to look at maybe their past, but look at where do they want to be in life? Do they want to own a home? Do they want to have a happy family? Do they want to have a successful job, etc.? And if they do, there are certain things that are going to help you get there quicker. There are things that are definitely going to hold you back. And they also even have a special section in this curriculum to get inside the mind of a child who doesn't have a consistent parent in the home, like a father.
Yeah.
And so it's a very intuitive curriculum that the kids are really responding to. And so our grant mandated us to serve a few hundred youth. And because school was not a possibility, we have partnered with several local organizations, and as a result, we are collaborating. Several of us are forming a really strong collaboration where we're not trying to reinvent the wheel with we're trying to help each other and to develop some of these curriculums. And so there's things they're doing that we can let them to help us and vice versa. So the JDC is one of those places that we're going, and our staff has actually been going there and teaching, and it's been really great. We have another year of that grant, and we feel like we are expecting this to really grow. And so we're looking for more volunteers and some staff who would come in and get trained on our curriculum and be able to help us to take this into the schools and to teach it to more youth. We're doing hybrid, with some of it in person, some Zoom. And like I said, it's really a great program, which is a way of getting in front of a lot of youth, and then from those youth, we want to have other opportunities for them to take part at our building and so forth. And so I need volunteers. That's one of my big needs right now, is to help me.
She mentioned 3 times volunteers. So all of you listening to this podcast, please, if you need to volunteer, you want to volunteer, there's something that you always felt that you want to do in life, we're going to put all her information at the end of the program, so you can maybe call her. Hey, I want to volunteer. What can I do? Remember, it takes a village. It takes a village. We are a part of this village, okay? Also, Mary Beth, how many of these young women that you are helping come from a broken family where there's no parents, maybe 1, maybe 2 here and there once in a while? Is it the majority or few?
I actually don't have an exact, because I haven't tabulated that specific data, but I can tell you from experience for these past 16 years is a majority. And I see the heartbreak these kids go through. They may not quite understand why, but it's going to be so much harder for them to get over these obstacles that come from not having that stability in the home.
Now, you have spoken about resilience, hopefully teaching these young ladies how to deal with the problem. That the problem is not the problem, but how you look at the problem and how you behave yourself in front of the problem. Do you have anything, such as an Academy of Finances, where you teach these young ladies how to become financially independent? The reason I'm asking this is because throughout my career as a law enforcement officer, and I'm sure the work that Mr. C does, we see that a lot of these young ladies, they grow up because of the lack of confidence, because of the lack of resources. They find themselves in this vortex of domestic abuse. And many of them, and I had an incident recently where somebody reached out to me about a young lady that is going through this. And they don't want to leave this abusive relationship because of the lack of financial resources. One thing that I would like to see, and I don't know if you can do this here, some kind of a Academy of Finances, not where you're teaching somebody how to balance their checking account or their saving account, but hey, this is what it's like to have a Roth IRA. This is a Roth IRA. This is a 401k. You know, like last night we had to explain to our son, who just turned 18 recently, what it is to pay Social Security. What is it? 1099. You know, and how do you pay taxes if you're doing a 1099? And he's like, what? Excuse me? So, because the only way to become financially successful is by investing. It doesn't matter. I mean, I know guys that are plumbers, but because they have none, have to invest in money. They're sitting on a mine of gold. They know it. So I don't know if you have anything like that, or anybody who is out there that knows about this.
Volunteers.
You know, because that's another thing. What does it take to become a volunteer?
And I was going to ask you that.
So I don't know if you can answer those questions, you know.
Well, I call what we do the full spectrum of health, and the financial literacy and skills is one of the main areas, because if you don't have that financial stability and know how to manage that, how are you going to take care of all the other areas? And so for example, we're in the middle of our camp, the last week of our camp this week, and the girls they have a store, and so their store, they're earning butterfly bucks, and this is play money, but the Target stores in Greater Kansas City have given us gift cards to purchase products for the store, and they've told us what they want. We're pricing those, and this week we gave them their bank account and their scorecard for rating themselves for how well they're attending every day, paying attention, participating, showing teamwork, and they're earning butterfly bucks. Butterflies are a symbol of transformation.
Correct.
And on Friday, when the store is all set up and the Target staff will be here, they will get to take their money and spend it at the store. So that's just one little way, but I think what you're saying about the learning about compound interest, learning about the IRAs and all this is extremely important. And there's several curricula that are around, but we do need volunteers, and there's some things I'm looking into right now to build that in for some special workshops. But for some of the older young women who are post-high school, there's a huge need. And so we're working on another project to try to do some of these types of projects, workshops, and come alongside a select number of young women. There is even a donor who wants to support some of these young women as they try to go finish school, have a place to live, etc. So we're working on building that program right now. There's another program I didn't tell you about, and you may, as you walk by, seen the kitchen that we just had renovated. We're in this 100-year-old church building, and we're building a culinary program.
Oh.
And so our girls and youth in our community now have access to having cooking classes to learn about nutrition and healthy food. And I want these young ladies to also learn to be entrepreneurs. So that's another way of teaching financing.
Correct.
So we have a volunteer chef, and we're just very fortunate that I feel like a lot is going to happen this coming year.
Now, what does it take to become a volunteer? And are you just looking for females or males also? Of any age or a certain age?
Well, I can't just say that's a simple question because there's many volunteer opportunities. We need volunteers who might come in on a special project like raking leaves and laying mulch, and they may go on to some other organization, but still it's something they could get service hours for school or whatever.
How about probation officers? Can they send their...
They can.
Okay.
And we have a gentleman here who would oversee them, and actually some of them have done that, but we could use more. You can see we have a whole lot of carpet tile to lay, and I'm not going to ask you to do. I know you've done that too long, and
I might help you. I might come up and help you.
But I'll start at the top. For someone who wants to be working closely with the young women, with our youth, they need to go to our website and fill out an application form and send to us. And we need to meet with them, and we need to make sure that if this is the right fit for them, that they're the right fit, and that they would need, again, for working with our youth closely, there's certain things they're going to have to do, go through a clearance procedure, go through a sexual harassment training, etc. But we also want to train those people and make them have a commitment to be here more than just, say, a couple of months. But because I'm very protective of our young ladies, and they get attached to people and then they're gone, so I want to make sure people would commit to a certain time. So if you're just coming in to give a speech or to do a workshop like on financial management, that's probably not as necessary. But there's other areas that I have a board of directors. We're looking for some dynamic, passionate people to be on our board. And we have committees on that board that you don't have to be a board member to be on the committee. We've got finance and program development and marketing and communications, and there's a lot of things that a person maybe has an important full-time job and they can't be here all the time, but they've got this great expertise to help us build a more sustainable organization. And so, but there's also other special projects that I would love to have volunteers. I even need a volunteer to help me manage volunteers. And we have received a small grant, it's not really small, but to build out an adolescent health initiative to reach more youth, especially the girls in our program, but to take this to the schools and to other organizations. And so I'm definitely looking for people who have the talent, the expertise, perhaps the training in health, holistic health, that we can really reach out and help our young people in this community.
Well, amazing.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
So, approximately, how many people do you have in your staff, and how many volunteers do you have working for you right now at the present time?
I have, Brenda is our admin, and she also does workshops. And Lori is our program coordinator, and she also does workshops and so forth. And they are almost full-time, but not quite. And Jeannie has come on board to manage our grants and lead that project. And Frankie Benuelos has come on board to help facilitate and to help us with bilingual. We really need to do a better job of reaching our Hispanic community. And so we definitely need more volunteers in that area. You know, our school district is now 60% Hispanic, and we really have got to address that. So how many? So that's 5 without, and I have an incredible man who makes sure we're safe every day, but also is our handyman, who's a retired Teamster truck driver. He's on loan from another organization, but he, I guess he's not really a staff person, but I couldn't live without him. And we have 2 little churches that meet in our building. We have a food pantry. We have a drive-by food distribution that we do in concert with one of those churches, Covenant of Grace. And we have another organization moving in a couple of weeks. So we're becoming more of a collaborative workspace.
And I was going to mention that also because I helped you last year with the food drive. You're not just helping our young women here with your program, but you're also helping feed the community in need. So to me, that speaks a lot. That speaks volumes of you and your program and how much you care and love our community.
What is a day like here? At what time the young ladies arrive? What do you guys do? Like when I arrived here, the young ladies were doing some painting on canvases. So what is a day like for these young ladies, for the staff? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if there's a typical day.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there is something new every day.
Absolutely there is. Well, we've had an amazing 3 weeks of our camp for all of these middle school girls and girls going into 6th grade, going into the 9th. And so we've been really busy with the food preparation. The first week, I've been spending a lot of my time lining up the speakers and the volunteers to come in and help. Our first week, we focused on adolescent health, especially for girls, their reproductive system, and we had a volunteer, Dr. Buchanan from the Kansas City Medical Society, who came in and taught the girls and engaged with them, and that was very helpful. And we've had a couple of men come in and teach a self-defense class.
Oh, no kidding.
And our chef took them to Gibbs Farm, and they got to pull the vegetables, pick the green beans, go out and see how all the farming works, and then bring those vegetables back and prepare lunch. They got to cook it. And so that was a great day for them. And then my friend Jenny, that you met, has been doing an amazing job teaching them to be creative, to use their own creativity to produce art, just what's going on with them. We have gone to the Wyandotte County Museum to show them the history of this county. Last week was extremely special. We partnered with a group called Madam President, and these girls went through every day last week a curriculum teaching them about self-advocacy, about advocacy for their community and civic engagement, but what does it take to be a leader? And that the Madam President, I could be president someday, but I think they learned so much. And then we went to the Kansas City Zoo. And this week we are taking them, what is today?
Today is Tuesday.
Okay,
The
Thursday
20th.
we're
The
taking
20th.
them to Powell Gardens to, of all things, the butterfly exhibit.
Wow.
So again, that transformation, they're going to see butterflies transforming. And but this week we're teaching them our Healthy Teen Initiative curriculum called Love Notes, and they're really getting into it.
Wow, wow. We can go on
Yes.
and on and on.
Correct. Just one more thing before we move on. Can you tell us a successful story? Is there any way possible that you can tell us a little bit of one successful story? Somebody that was transformed by what you guys do. Is it possible?
There's so many.
That's a good thing. One in particular that impacted you.
There's a young lady who has shared her story with us before. But she started with us as a 6th grader at Central Middle School. And in the 8th grade, she got accepted into the Kansas Kaufman Scholars Program when they still were funding, $10,000 a year for 5 years.
Yes.
And so she got into Sumner. A lot of events happened in her life. Her mom developed cancer, and the dynamics of the family, she ended up being the caretaker for her mom and for her siblings. And she couldn't keep her grades up at Sumner, so she went to another high school to graduate, and that did a number on her. But she graduated from K-State, and she has learned to listen to herself and find her passion. She's getting ready to publish a book of her poetry.
Oh, wow.
And she has, she's just a very thoughtful, caring. She became an AmeriCorps volunteer one year, and while she was working with us, she's come back and mentored our young ladies. She's just a very, very special young woman, and I look at her, and she's had plenty of trauma that she herself continues to overcome, but she's resilient, and she's strong, and she's making a difference.
Wow. Thanks to you. Thanks to you. Thanks to you and your program. Yes. Yes, that's what we need.
Yes.
That's what we need to see. That's what we need to
extremely
hear.
grateful.
One makes a big difference. One makes a difference.
I have so many heroes in my life. From my mom to my stepfather to Mr. C, who is to me he's an example of resilience and redemption.
Well, thank you.
I like that word, redemption.
Yes, redemption. To paraphrase the great humanitarian and former Major League Baseball player Roberto Clemente, who died in a tragic aviation accident on his way to Nicaragua. He said that if you are not doing something for humanity, for your fellow man, you're wasting your time on this planet. And today, I believe it was 47, 48 years ago, the famous American Asian filmmaker, philosopher, martial artist, Bruce Lee passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Today.
Today.
Yes,
July
I
20th.
saw that post on
July
Facebook.
20th, 1973. And he has impacted my life tremendously. And he said that under the heavens, there is only one race, and that's the human race.
Human race.
So we want to thank you so much, Mary, from the bottom of our hearts.
Yes, Mary
For
Beth, you
your
know,
time.
yes, thank you for your time. I admire your work, what you're doing here for our community. I mean, it's just, you are an example of what we need to do to make a difference in our youth. You're the prime example, you know, and we thank you for your time. We thank you for loving and caring our young women.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, I couldn't do it without inspiring people like you. And there's so many good people in this county
Mm-hmm.
and beyond who really care. And some of these stories and examples don't get on the news.
Yes,
But
that's true.
if they only knew the
Mhm.
messages of hope that are here,
Mhm.
it's very inspiring.
Yes. Well,
And I'm
thank
glad to
you.
be a
Thank
part of
you.
it.
Thank you for your time. Thank
And
you.
remember that you are not alone.
You're not alone. Look forward. Don't look back. Stay positive. One more thing. I am a coordinator of mentoring for the school district, USD 500. And I deal with a lot of young women also. And one thing I always tell them, do not put yourself in a situation that you cannot get out of. Parents, tell you kids that. Don't put yourself in a situation that you cannot get out of. Have a good day. Till next time.
Thank you.
Can you tell me your name?
My name is Ray Robinson.
And you are part of this Young Women on the Move, right?
Yes, sir.
And what do you think about it?
I think it's very great because it gives young women an opportunity to learn more about the things that women can do to help the community. It also gives them a great mindset. It learns about basic needs and it's helping others in the community.
Well, can I see your artwork you're working on?
Yes, sir. I haven't finished yet.
Nice. Cool. What's your name?
My name is Yahara Pacheco, but they call me Yaya.
Yeah.
And I really like this program because it has given me a lot of experience and I have met a lot of beautiful people. And I have also had to say goodbye, but you know, I'm gonna see them again hopefully in the future.
You're gonna say goodbye? Why is that?
Because the program is gonna end this Friday,
Oh.
unfortunately. But we have done a lot of stuff. We're doing this project where we're putting some bags together and putting some personal stuff for girls and going to schools and we're gonna deliver them.
What can you tell me? What one of the highlights of this program that has touched your life or has made you think differently?
The second week was about Madam President, and they teach us about leadership and to know ourselves better, and it has helped me.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Do you mind?
Okay, now we're gonna show you some of their artwork here that the ladies are working on. Wow, look at that. That's nice.
Thank you.
And what is your name?
Sophia.
Sophia. Do you mind being on camera?
It's fine, yeah.
Okay, let me turn around. What can you tell me about this program, Sophia?
It's a women empowerment program.
Uh-huh. What do you think about it? Has it helped you?
I do think it has helped me.
Yeah.
Especially, even if it doesn't help some people, and then it definitely will, I guess, get time off their hands and stuff during the summer and things, and they're helping other people too.
What do you think about Miss Mary Beth?
Miss Mary Beth is really nice, and she helps the program a lot.
Yes, I know she's very nice. I've known her for about 14 years now.
That's a while.
Yes. Well, thank you. And we have another young lady that would like to say something. What is your name?
My name is Kaden. Well, the program is actually pretty helpful. It makes you get a little bit more confident. And Miss Mary Beth is like really nice. She's more of like a free spirit. So
She's like very young.
yeah,
Like
She is a young lady. Yes.
she's very kind.
yeah. She's very nice too.
What's the best part of this program?
The best part is, like you get to make new friends and you get to have like fun art projects and stuff. So, yeah, that's what makes it so fun.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And go.
I am so happy to introduce you to the leadership team here at our Girl Empower Camp at Young Women on the Move. These young ladies have volunteered to lead our service project. I'm going to let them explain to you what our service project is and how they're leading all of our campers to do a service for our community.
Can you please state your names?
My name is Yahya Pacheco, but they call me Yaya.
I'm Zaray Robinson, they call me Ray.
I am Cassidy Lucas, but some of them call me Quinn.
My name is Kaden McNary, and most people call me Kate.
Can you ladies explain what you do here for Young Women on the Move?
Well, we like to help our community, and one of our projects we're hopefully gonna finish is we're making some bags, and we're gonna put some personal stuff for girls and taking them to schools so we can help them, and so they can be prepared. And here are some of the bags that we have colored. Just some of them, and we're gonna raise a little bit of money so we can put more supplies in here and take it out to schools for girls in need of these bags. Pads, tampons, deodorant, stuff like that girls need that we're putting in the bags.
How does Young Women on the Move have impact your life?
Young Women on the Move has impacted my life because it shows me how to be a great leader, a great woman in life, and how to help other people.
Why do you like Young Women on the Move so much?
Young Women on the Move I like it because I get to meet new people and new friends. And it's a great place to like have fun and meet new people and like the environment here.
Can you tell me how Young Women on the Move has changed your life or the way you do things?
Well, it's made me like more confident and have a little bit more self-respect. Because I didn't really help myself that much, but now I'm more aware of what I'm supposed to do.
Now, I know you want to be having your own podcast. Why do you want to do that?
I want to have my own podcast so one day I can show people that's all diverse that just because I can speak a language and I'm colored doesn't mean that I can't do what you do. And diversity is okay.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Now, one more question. How did you find out about this program?
School?
Yeah. They came into our school and they brought us Chick-fil-A and I was happy. And they talked about the program and all the benefits it had. And well, I liked it and tried it out, right? And I love it.
How was Chick-fil-A?
Good.
I think it's the same for me. We went to the same school. You could say that I was pretty surprised. I didn't know that this existed. So I was like, Mom, I want to go. I came here. I made new friends. I'm very proud I get this opportunity. I hope other girls can try it out too.
I heard it off of my mother. She told me about it, and so I decided to go, and I actually quite like it here.
My mom used to work here, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And when Miss Mary Beth came to my school, I was surprised because I already had knew her. And she brought us food and she told us about what's gonna happen there and how it can help us. And yeah, and I was happy because I got to be in it, so yeah.
So, one last word of encouragement
to all the young ladies out there who are in need of help and who are going to be listening to this podcast. Who wants to say it?
Come to Young Women on the Move, and you can have a better chance at experiencing something that could change your life.
And love yourself.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.